telephone, 911 calls. You could do it for different countries because the time zones are different. It's just technology opens the door. And but Canada, we're so lucky to have the resources here because we're so open to the policies. We try to do good. Oh, here we go. This is Rachel, our HR manager. So if you guys want a job, she hires here. So be good. Be on your best behavior. Try to look smart. Lift your hands up. No, that's great, though, guys. So we're gonna wait another. Should we give 5 more minutes?
Yeah, go 5 minutes.
Okay. Let me tell people online. For those at home or in your offices, we will begin live in 5 more minutes. We're just giving, I guess, a few more people an opportunity to come in because of traffic, and then we'll take it, and hopefully you'll enjoy the presentation. And we'll have open forums. It'll be a two-way conversation. Feel free to ask any questions that you, if I cross a topic you need clarification, just ask, and we'll address that. Right now, it's like real, yeah, same type of thing. So
because I work in a shelter myself.
cool.
I'm using the counselor.
Excellent.
And I'm using Rio a lot for my clients.
Beautiful, beautiful. Access lines and language line do real. It's the same idea as ours, but we're now trying to do it ourselves. Reason being is we're adopting technology. We don't want to go for a big wholesaler, so we're saying we have a lot of people doing face to face. They want to work from home. Let's do that option. So we've got our system. They can log in. It goes out. So normally we go out there and we have the Rio and we pay for that. We're taking it back slowly and we're using our own people. It's great. It's fun. How do you enjoy your work? You've been doing it for a while?
Yes, for 20 years.
Well, that makes a difference.
I like it. I still enjoy it. But, every day is different.
Yeah.
I don't have to same days.
Oh,
I have different clients for different cultures, for different stories, different issues, different problems.
makes them so much more interesting.
Really different.
Yeah.
Very satisfying when you help them and you see them in the,
And they move on and
Yeah,
they do
they
things
move
on their
on.
own. Absolutely.
they become independent, so that's my, it's a joy.
And how about yourself? Do you do anything right now, or?
I just came here about 3 months ago.
Oh, so you're
Oh,
new.
you're so new.
So new.
Excellent.
So right now I'm just trying to figure out what everything is about.
Yeah. That's
But,
great. Have an open mind. Look at what's feasible, what's not. See if this is for you. Feel like it. If you have any questions, just ask me. Okay, so Gregory, another 2 minutes. We'll go live.
Sure.
How many people were expected again? Total signed up?
30.
30. So hopefully, how many do we have online right now?
We have 6 online.
6 online. Okay. 2 more minutes and we'll repeat ourselves if we have to. How about yourself? Are you doing anything right now, or?
I was living for about 5 years in Poland.
Poland. Whereabouts in Poland?
Going back to Poland. 3 years in Warsaw, and then 2 years close to Krakow.
Krakow.
So I was actually teaching English in a private English teaching school close to Krakow. But I decided teaching. I was mostly teaching teenagers and children, and I decided that it was too much for me.
After a few years.
Just they were nice, but also a lot of disobedience,
Okay.
and I wasn't. It just stressed me out too much.
And how about yourself? What's your background? What do you work? What have you done? Or?
So, actually, done a lot of things. I like to go try things and then decide. So I've worked as a teacher as well as an English teacher. I've worked as I worked as an executive secretary. I worked as an interpreter, as a daycare. Also, I worked as a nurse assistant.
All at once? So when did you
No.
sleep?
Trust me, I had time for everything.
Oh, that's
And
great.
I worked as a phlebotomist.
What
So
do you mean,
So I've done many different things, and also as an interpreter too. So I do like interpreting, and it's really good. I love English too. So this is one of the things I used to do. But as you mentioned before, like working with kids, especially teaching, it was really too much hard work.
Well, this is good because you get to select here right now at MCIS. You'll see you can select what jobs, being an entrepreneur, running your own business. You decide what assignment you want to go to. So, guys, if you want, I will start. I think we gave people enough time. Everybody at home, we will get started. Sorry about the delay. We just wanted everybody to have an opportunity to make it here because where we're located, like I mentioned before, a lot of construction, a lot of people were coming late the last time, but I don't want to keep you guys waiting. You're the most important people to me right now. So let me first start by introducing myself. My name's Lester, Lester Corbley. I'm a director of sales and marketing here at MCIS. I've been with the company since 2015. And I not only do sales and marketing, but training as well as vendor management is under my umbrella. And I am looking forward to presenting to you today, as well as I've got some other people in the office that are working with me, alongside me. And maybe Gregory, just give a little intro.
Hi, I'm Gregory Warren. I am a sales rep at MCIS working under Lester Corbley, and I work with training.
Excellent. We also have Rachel from Human Resources with us today. Rachel, give us a little spiel about yourself. You're interesting. Come on.
Hi everyone. I don't know if they can hear me.
Yeah, this microphone's pretty good actually.
Oh, okay.
It's really amazing.
So I'm Rachel. I'm the head of HR department. So we do lots of hiring. We work with lots of interpreters. So I hope you guys enjoy the information session and let us know if you have any questions.
Excellent. And our last victim of this team here at MCIS, Katie, go ahead. Tell us about yourself.
Good evening, everyone. I'm really glad you guys are here. So I'm the recruitment coordinator. I usually recruit for all of the language professionals, so interpreters and translators. I'm really glad that you guys are here and you guys have the opportunity to explore how to really maximize your language skills.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. Well, here we go. Let's get started, everybody. I'm going to talk about the agenda just quickly. We're going to quickly give you an overview of MCIS. We'll talk about our history. We'll talk about the different solutions that we offer. Then we'll get into the interpreters and translators, what they're all about. So if you're not familiar with it, we'll give you a bird's eye view of what this whole industry is all about, what you could do, how you could participate, what kind of opportunities you'll come across if you do wish to take the training and to become a language professional. And I'll get into the training program more, talking about how to become a community interpreter translator. We'll go over the curriculum of the different courses, because today we're going to talk about mainly interpretation and translation. Then we're going to talk about your career paths. If you start, you want to grow, you want to keep with the times, you want to meet demands. So much out there, so diverse. You could work for, in businesses, you could work with hospitals, legal organizations, the government, and always you'll have to get some additional training, advance yourself. And as you market and advance yourself, you'll be in greater demand, and hence your business will grow. Because remember, you're business people. You're your asset, you're the entity, you have to sell yourself. So let's get started. A little bit about our history. We've been around now for 30 years. Fantastic. Celebration going on every week, every day at MCIS. We're a nonprofit social enterprise, meaning basically we were started 30 years ago because we wanted to make a change in society. And the change we wanted to do was help victims of domestic violence, specifically women, give them a voice. If they go to court, if they can't afford to have an interpreter, we made sure 30 years ago that there was an interpreter to help you in any language. So that grew throughout the years, and we started getting grants from the government, but as the years progressed, we brought more and more services on board, and we became self-sufficient. As a result, we started generating some revenue. So we said, hey, this revenue, we don't have owners, nobody owns us, we don't have shareholders, we have a volunteer board of 13 people that look over our business, and their job is to decide not only our strategy, not only the direction a company is going to go in, but what is our mission? What's our vision? Where do we see ourselves in 5 to 10 years from now? Our vision is to connect people globally through language. This is very important, especially in a diverse city like Toronto. As I mentioned earlier to the people that are around here in the office, in the boardroom, we have over 368 languages because we're so fortunate. The world came to Toronto. And from that, not only do we have a lot of potential interpreter translators, but we have to help the new immigrants and refugees. They need assistance from people like yourselves who take this training. And we are happy to take the money that we make, not giving it to a owner, not giving it to shareholders, but reinvesting it into things we believe. One of our biggest things today is still victims of domestic violence. If somebody needs help, they don't have the money, we will go there, we'll do it at no cost. Another great thing we do is we contribute to different, programs. One that I'm really proud of that took place a year and a half ago is we sponsored a Syrian refugee family. And as a project, the whole company got together, we got an apartment, we got them schools, we got them furniture, we got them jobs, and they're well on their way today. They're doing really well. So it's a win-win situation. People always helping people, and we're not truly motivated by money, but we do pay at the market value if you're an interpreter translator. So a lot of people get us mixed up with a charity, which we're not. So as I mentioned, we've been around 30 years. So we started with face-to-face, covering the legal market, medical, social services, and we do also conferences. You know, people out there request simultaneous interpretation where you're like almost stereo. They say a word and you say it right after at conferences. We do that. Technology opened up a new gate where we now could do interpretation, not only face-to-face, but on phone, on video. And the other thing we do is translation. Translation is different from interpretation because of the fact that you are taking the written language and you're converting it into another language. And transcription, localization, accessibility all fall within that realm. And accessibility is really important to us. And by accessibility is people that may need some additional assistance. Maybe, you know, they have problems seeing, hearing. We try to accommodate that, and we offer solutions such as American Sign Language, for instance. So we have interpreters that do that as well. So it's very diverse. And the fourth thing we've grown into is because of the demand in Canada and new refugees and immigrants coming in, we see the need to constantly train individuals to become professionals to assist these new refugees and immigrants. So that's why we're here today to talk about some of the training services we offer. And if you're interested in becoming an entrepreneur, starting your own business, and getting into this industry, you're in the right place. So what do? What have we done in these past 30 years? Well, we've assembled a roster of 6,000 freelancers. And by freelancers, I mean they're not employees of ours, but they sign contracts and we pay them. We get them assignments, be it in translation, interpretation, but they really run their own business. They dictate, no, I'm not going to take this, or yes, I'm going to take it. And they dictate who they're going to work with. We're not the only game in town. MCS is big, we've been around, but we have competitors out there. And I welcome you to go and sign up with them. Reason being, if you really become good and you're in demand, I want you to stay in this industry for the next 10, 20 years so we all have access to you. If we keep you busy, that means you're not going to go anywhere else. So please feel free to sign up, not only with us when you graduate this course, but with my competitors as well. And I'd be more than glad to tell you who they are. Clients we serve. We have over 750 clients we serve regularly. And we're talking about in the public sector, the federal government, provincial government, municipal governments. We talk about also medical, legal. We do legal aid. We do hospitals. You name it. We do shelters. It's one of the best jobs. Children's Aid Society. Very, very diverse. So you may wish to specialize down the road. You start with the basic training, but if you really love something, working in hospitals, and you find a team you like really spending time with, like maybe in oncology or cardiology at one of the major hospitals, take our advanced medical. And you'll have a better chance of working with these guys, and you probably not only invest in your education, but you're investing in your future because you're probably going to be paid more as a result for that. So who are interpreters and translators? Well, Interpreters, first of all, and translators are independent contractors. I use the term freelancers, but you're really running your own business. You have to make sure you provide quality. You have to make sure that you could pick and choose the assignments that mostly fit you. And not only that, you have to organize yourself. Make sure you're there on time. Make sure you could do the job and you can handle the job. As I mentioned, some people may have difficulties working with children. Some people may have difficulties in a mental hospital or working with, people in emergency where there's blood. Other people may just want to do community interpreting, just simple working at a government municipal office. Those are things that you will decide on your own, but the opportunities are there. So you have the freedom to build and choose your schedule. Handle your own accounting, contracts, and legal issues. You're a small business, but don't worry. Our training covers that. It tells you how to manage your business. It's not rocket science. But always, and I mean this, invest in yourself, and I mean in your education, in anything you do in life. Always keep up, because technology is changing things so rapidly. As I mentioned, there's new opportunities. So face-to-face is not the only thing. If you live far away in the country, you still could be vital because you could offer telephone service, VRI service, and you could do it globally, and you could keep busy. But once again, if you really love a field, be it medical or legal, there's also advanced training that we offer, and you could look into that. So just you guys are here, a lot of you are, I'm sure, looking for employment. What happens out there in the market? Well, let me give you some market rates. It could go anywhere from, for a community interpreter, just doing general legal, health, and social work, anywhere from 17 at the bottom range. That's for people without experience. People probably don't even have an education, all the way up to $35. And the minimum, when we send you on assignment, the minimum normally is 2 hours. And this is the crazy thing. You may go to a hospital, you have an appointment with a specialist. Specialist sees the patient for 5 to 10 minutes. And that's all you do, but we pay you for 2 hours. Do you understand that? Because you're a professional, you have to get up, get in your car, get parking, go there, and a rainy day, fight the elements to go and do that assignment. It's not worth it for 15 minutes. We need a minimum of 2 hours for you. So we're thinking about you guys. However, if you want to advance yourselves down the road and you like working in courts, the starting point for legal interpreters is around $25 going up to $35. And once again, the minimum could be 2 to 3 hours. And conference interpreting. So for you guys that love to go out there, meet the public, and you're not afraid to be on a stage. Conference simultaneous interpretations, like when you're echoing what the people are saying but in a different language, starts at $650 all the way through to $1,200 a day. We've got people that make a crazy living on that because they're very good, they practice, and they're experts in their field. And once again, they put in a lot of hard work, and people recognize it, and they love the quality, so they ask for the same people over and over again. And that's why it's important to really, if you get into this field, think of it as a profession, because it is. You make a difference, and people need you. The doctors, the lawyers, you're the right hands when it comes to talking to their clients. Translation. So those of you who don't like people, those of you who are not extroverts, you want to stay in your little office, there's translation. If you're good at words and you can convert words, translation normally pays by the word. So we're looking at 8 cents all the way to 20 cents by a word. But if you're good and you get like an embassy, a consulate that knows you, and they always say, hey, I want Maria. She's the best. She's fast. She's accurate. She knows what we need. They'll ask for you, and you could start negotiating. Say, I'm really busy. I don't know if I have time for you, but everybody makes 20 cents. I'm going 25 because I take extra care. And they go, we'll pay for you. You're great. Continue. So once again, it's your own business. You have to negotiate and get these things going. And there's revisions. So some of you who don't like translating, you could look at the work of a translator, revise it. You're the second eyes to see if the work was good or not, and you could put some recommendations in there. And we also pay you anywhere from 2 to 5 cents a word. So that's a great. And transcreation, same thing. There's different ways of looking at words and putting them into different languages or taking them from one source, being verbal to written or vice versa. It's an hourly rate for that. So interpreters in action. So if you are an interpreter, you graduated, you did fantastic at MCIS, you were part of our team, and you signed up with some of my competition like 911, you're always busy, you're going to be out there working with lawyers. You're out there with doctors, social workers, the police, parole officers, going to events. So that's more on one-on-one. Classrooms, working with students that don't speak the language, they're new to the country. But you also have the opportunity to work with groups where you may go to meetings where there's 2 or 3 people. You'll do the interpretation there. Negotiations, union negotiations where they need somebody who speaks the language. Depositions. If you go to court, you have to present in front of a courtroom. So you can't be introverted for something like that. And you have to know your limitations. Auto shows, conferences, film festivals, people come from around the world. We're an international city. There's always demand for, hey, we need somebody, there's a big director coming, we want someone to spend the day with him and make sure, we could speak to him French all day. That's, opportunities like that. So why do we need interpreters here in Toronto, Canada, or anywhere in the world? When you have your little child that's going to school who speaks English, and could interpret maybe Polish for me if I need help. Well, there is a difference between a volunteer and a family member. First of all, impartiality. That's the number one thing you're going to learn in our code of ethics. Is we're going to teach you not to be emotional. You're going to be very stoic. You're going to be a voice box. If a doctor's telling a patient and they're asking you to interpret, please tell her that she has cancer. You're not going to go, oh my God, you got cancer. You can't do that. You got to go, you just repeat exactly what the doctor said. You don't even look. You shouldn't even be existing in that room. You're just the voice. So you've got cancer. And they talk to each other and they address each other in the first party. So that emotion is drawn and you don't have any connection with the doctor or the client. You're just the voice piece that's there. But the other thing that's really important is confidentiality. You speak Farsi. You go into a doctor and you see the patient there and you go, oh my God, I recognize this patient. She goes to our community center. One thing you'll do is, as a professional, you'll tell a doctor, I'm sorry, but I have to refrain from this because I want to maintain confidentiality. I want it to be fair for the patient. I don't want them to think I'm going to go around and gossip within the community that she's at a mental institution or whatever. But that's, as a professional, you're going to learn those things, and that keeps this industry vibrant, and the trust is there amongst our customers and their patients. Pressure, you're going to come under pressure. You're going to see some crazy things. If you like going out there, you want to work with police, you want to work 911, you want to work a suicide line, it's tough. But we're going to train you how to handle it, and you're going to know what your limitations are. And professional training, this is what it's all about. So your little son is, going to sugarcoat, for instance, if the doctor says, can you tell your father that he's got cancer? The son's going to say, hey, Dad, you're all right, nothing to worry about. They don't want to tell the parents the truth sometimes. So that's why it's always, always important. We have to use professional interpreters no matter what. Translators in action. So what do you do at Translator? So we offer the course where instead of verbal, it's written. What kind of documents can they come across? Personal. They've got people coming from overseas bringing diplomas, resumes, where they have to be translated into English because they're looking for jobs or they're coming to school here. You could do that. You could sign contracts for people coming to work here or contracts for new businesses starting, or internationally there's other businesses that require contracts to be interpreted. Brochures, so for advertising, reports, emails, and texts. Companies, believe it or not, are global and they have their emails translated to talk to one of their other subsidiaries in a different country. So there's a lot of great things. Localization is becoming a big part of translation today. And what's localization? Well, I'll tell you what localization is. We've become a global world. Everything now is one-stop shopping, one shot, a lot of efficiencies. I am Walmart USA. I'm putting out a new campaign. I want to launch this campaign in Canada. And I figure, hey, Canadians are same as Americans. We speak English. That's not the case. We're in Canada more of a mosaic. Culturally, Different groups love to keep their culture. They stay in their own groups, and they're proud because of where they come from. Because Canada enables you. Where in the U.S., they become more of a melting pot. People try to become Americans. Some of them shy away from their culture. So the way you approach these people are different ways, and you have to know how to reach them. You can't have the same advertising campaign for Canada and the U.S., believe it or not. You have to make some subtle changes. And that's even more apparent when it comes to languages across the world. So this campaign Walmart's doing in Canada, the U.S., it's going to be different in Italy, it's going to be different in France, it's going to be different in Brazil. Simple things like, hey, in my brochure, I've got the color green, and this is for medicine. People in Brazil are going to go, hang on, they associate green with malaria in the jungle. We would tell them, you don't want to put green there, change the color, use a different word. Or this is a word they use in that area, because Spanish is different in Europe versus South America. You know, in Mexico, even within South America, Guatemala, Ecuador, Mexico, the Spanish is different, there's different nuances. Localization specializes in getting it right for the people in that region. And that could be through desktop publishing, websites, the radio, poetry, books. If you really want to capture not only the language, but their culture, it's important. That's what localization is all about. It might interest you. So how do you become an interpreter and translator through our training? What do you guys have to give up for the next 7 to 9 weeks in order to become an interpreter or a translator? Well, number one, you have to have a schedule where it's flexible enough so you could do some studying. You have the option to study online if you want, 100%, where nobody bothers you, you work whenever you have the time. Or if you want to come in a classroom 3 times a week or 2 times a week, we have that opportunity too, because people like talking to other people, and you could learn from each other and practice on each other. So if you want to do interpreter training, it could go anywhere from 7 to 9 weeks, depending if it's in the classroom or if it's online. And translator training now goes anywhere from 7 to 8 weeks. Believe it or not, it used to be 13 weeks the last session. We brought it down because people found it was just too heavy, too much. So we cut it. We made it palatable, easy. What else? Practical. You got to be ready to be practical, hands-on with our course. We're going to ask you to do things. We're going to try it like in real life, because when you graduate, we want to put you out there in hospitals. We want to put you in law firms. So a lot of it is going to be talking, going online. You're going to have different groups. You're going to do exercises that are live, real-life simulations. And not only that, if you're in a classroom, we're going to take you, and we're all going to meet together at a courthouse to see actually what happens in a court. How does the judge? How do the lawyers? How do the plaintiffs? How do the interpreters work with them? You'll see that firsthand. Very important. So, last thing is affordable. So what we're trying to do is we're nonprofit social enterprise. None of us are going to be rich here. I know I'm not. I take a big cut as for when I join the company. But I'm doing this because I love this. I like making a difference. And we want it to be affordable. If you guys can't afford it, we put new systems in place. Since I took this department over just over a year ago, we used to ask people, you got to pay a lump sum. No, let's break it up. Let's break it up. 3 payments, 4 payments. What can you do? What can you afford? Because a lot of you don't have work today. All we need to do, and what makes me happy as a director here, is I want to have you as resources so we could use you guys to do other business. Training, our goal is to break even. So it's not to make money. It's not to drive around in a car. We need the resources and we want good people. We need to train you guys. So affordable is what we work with. If you need assistance, let us know. We could put programs in place and we'll work with you. Where, we don't say no to anyone. We'll make things happen. So what am I expecting? You're here today. So if you're here today and you're not wasting anybody's time, I need from you the ability to speak one language and English as well. So you should be able to be bilingual or be proficient in 2 languages. Great. Check. Number 1. Time commitment. If you're coming to classrooms, I need you here 90% of the time. During the 7 weeks, 90% of the time. If you're online, you could be a little more lazy, because chances are you've got another job, you only study at night. We let you do it for 3 months. But we say 7 weeks to 9 weeks is what you should do. People don't always do it. You can do it at your own pace because you may have a job or something that, that holds you back. but it's important that you all have access to a computer if you're in class or if you're online, because you're gonna have assignments, you're gonna have homework, you're gonna, yes, question here.
Can we do half online, half on the class? Like, not just half, but I mean, sometimes, like, if, let's say you cannot make it to come to class.
Not today, but
Okay.
we're testing something right now with a partner. We're gonna see how that goes, and if that works really well, it's gonna be a hybrid.
Yeah.
There may be webinars where it's gonna be a classroom, but it's gonna be also online. We're not committing to it, but we're testing, we're gonna see how it goes with one of our partners who's doing it in Chinese. If that works and we see that as viable, we may do something like that in the next 6 to 12 months, but today it doesn't exist.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good question, very good question, because everybody asks that, so.
Yeah.
Thank you for breaking the ice. The other thing is you need a recording device. If you have a computer, chances are you could record on it online, because you want to assess yourself. You'll be able to have a camera and see if you are a robot, if you're not, like going, oh my God. That's very important tools to have. You need that reflection, especially if you're alone at home.
Excuse me, when we are coming to the class, so we need to bring our own computer or?
It's great if you do, but you don't have to. But when homework to do the assignments and that stuff, yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
but people,
homework is understanding,
Yeah.
but for the class. Because I myself, I like the class.
so people do bring them. A lot of them do it. So it's like a given thing. It's very easy and simple, straightforward. I've seen people share too sometimes, and they go home because they said they had a desktop, and it's worked. We've accommodated that. So the other thing is you have to have some technical competence. You got to know how to use a computer, how to go online, how to do emails so we can communicate back and forth if you decide to work with us online. And the other thing is linguistic competence. You can't lie to us because our courses are all in English. They're language independent, but we may assess you if we see you're having problems in English, but we take your word that you're good in English and you're good at the other language. However, when a course is finished, we strongly recommend that you do a language skill assessment certification. That's called CILSAT or ILSAT. There's two. Reason being is this final test tells us, can this person really communicate in a language other than English really well? And if you do, it opens up so many doors. Because you'll see the courts come and they say, we need a CILSAT, ILSAT certified interpreter. You go, yeah, we've got a whole list of them here. Others ask for it too, but if you don't have it, you won't get as many opportunities is what I'm saying. You'll probably be limited to community, social type of interpretations. So we'll talk about that more. So what is the curriculum? What can you expect? There's two different options you have for interpreter training. One is on-site, which we call OSLIT. One is called OLIT, which is online. So starting with OSLIT, it's 7 weeks for daytime sessions. There's 3 of them. And 9 weeks for evening sessions. There's 2 of them during the week. On OLIT for the schedule, you do it at your own pace. If you want to go 2 in the morning, bless your heart. If the kid's keeping you up, you can't sleep, go to work while you're taking care of them. You have 3 months to do it, but you know what? If you need more time, we reset the clock and say, give them another 3 months. They're busy. Doesn't cost us anything, but we just want to push you so we can get you out there working in the industry. Format. So in the classroom, it is class, it's lectures. You have facilitators. People are trained to do this. We train all facilitators. And you're going to also practice online. You will have homework where you have to go home. If you're online strictly taking the course, everything's done in front of your computer at home. There's no interaction with a facilitator. The interaction for face-to-face with facilitators are only in the class. However, when you're online, there's forums. You could talk to buddies out there saying, hey, anybody having problems with this assignment? I think the facilitator is drunk. There's no way we could do this. And they're going to go, yeah, there is a way. I figured it out. And you could share intelligence and help each other out. It's really collaborative, which is fantastic. Mentorship in your language. There's 1 session in classroom. There's really no session for when you're online. Like if you were like me, my parents were born in Europe. I'm Canadian. I learned to speak Polish, French here. But my Polish, if I needed help and I wasn't sure of a few medical terms, I wouldn't have access to that online. But we do have a mentorship program. If you need assistance and you're thinking that you're falling behind, we can have a mentor that can help you. There's a cost for that, but that is available if you need it. But not too many people use that, to be honest with you. And we're in classroom. This is where you have your class. You're going to freeze to death. Bring a fur coat. Bring some mittens, unless you're doing American Sign Language, because it's hard to sign with mittens. But yeah, it's in here, classroom. And online, of course, it's going to be in your own home classrooms. So what's the cost? What is this Shylock here going to charge us for this? Well, it's $990 for the in-class, and it's $850 for the online. And there's tax on top of it. And once you finish, you will get an accreditation of completion from MCIS that you finished the courses, we acknowledge that. But what we're recommending is once you do that, we really want you to become professionals, get your certification. Do the ILSAT, SILSAT, that's an additional $195. You could do it through us, or you could do it through some other groups out there. They even do it online. We have some partners we could refer you to. But it opens up the world to you guys, it really does. Curriculum. So what do you do? Well, in class, there's 28 modules or sections that you're going to study, you're going to work. They're 3 hours each on average. They're distributed over 7 weeks for daytime session, 9 weeks for evening sessions. Online takes approximately 6 weeks, 12 weeks. You have 4 to 6 weeks for language assessment tests. So if you do wish to do SILSAT and ILSAT, it takes them time to grade it. I don't know why, but 4 to 6 weeks. We do in class 11 quizzes, 4 assignments, and a glossary in your language as well as the English language that you complete. You do that as an assignment. And the same happens when you're online. Classroom, you have 8 audio language labs. It's the same online. You also have a post-training assessment, audio, written, video. You have 3 sectional exams that assesses once you're finished training of where you are, how you're doing within the program. And attendance, you need to have, I said, in classroom 90%. It's very important. One class you miss, we're talking about 3 hours each. There's 28 modules. We cover maybe 2 to 3 a class. It's really important. And online, you could be Speedy Gonzalez, go at your own pace. You don't have to worry. Okay. So, here we are. What is this course? What are we going to cover when you take this course? Number 1 is fundamentals. This is where we all start to learn the foundation, the basics of being an interpreter. We're going to teach you how to be the Spock here. And the way to be the Spock, the unemotional, the unreactive person is going to be going through the code of ethics. You're going to understand every time you go into an assignment, you can't talk to the interpreter prior. If somebody asks you to go to coffee, well, hey, you're my interpreter, can we sit down and talk? We speak the same language. You go, no, you got to keep it professional because you want to be impartial. You're going to learn that in that training. And that role of interpreter is very important. We spend a lot of time around that because we want to be fair to the person you're helping. We don't want them to think that you're thinking like, oh my God, this guy does drugs. No, we want them to just use you as a tool for your voice. That's it between them, the doctor, or the lawyer. Modes of interpreting. So we will show you, like consecutive is probably what most of you are going to do. Consecutive is where the doctor says something and you repeat it to the patient right after. But there's also simultaneous for you show-offs there that want to go in front of the crowd and talk in front of
Justin, yeah.
Pierre Trudeau's my name, so I'm sorry about that. Justin Trudeau. If you want to go in front of big crowds, you have to train specifically for simultaneous. And it's a skill that's almost, you're talking and your memory's working at the same time. It takes a lot of practice. We'll teach you how to do that. If you really like that, you know, that's maybe something you just focus on. Because a lot of people are fantastic. And protocols and procedures, what you're supposed to do. I go to an assignment, first thing I do is I introduce myself. And I ask them, is it okay if I act as their interpreter? And you know, you go through that. You're going to learn the phrases and terms. Every time you go there, is it all right if I interpret for you? They acknowledge it and you proceed. So once that is done, we teach you everything, you know, confidentiality, you know, if you recognize someone in your community, how to back off because you're a professional, that's all under the fundamentals. But once you've got that foundation, you can start growing. We look at where the interpreters are mostly needed. The majority of the time you're going to find in legal and medical, there's going to be a lot of assignments, a lot of hospitals, especially in Canada. Population's getting so much older. parents, their kids are working, they don't have time to take them to the doctor, they need an interpreter. So, doctors and court interpretation. So people coming to Canada, immigration refugees, they need someone to interpret for them. You have to understand how the legal system works, how you play your role in there, how you're a part of it, and understand your role of how you're supposed to interact. You have to know that you're not going to come late. If you come late half an hour, there's 6 people there that were waiting for you. Because of you, they had to delay it or cancel the trial. That's unacceptable. Domestic violence. Oh my God! You got to learn to control. You got to realize that you're a voice box. But some people see some things that could be really scary, or emotionally just want to go, oh my God, I just want to smack that person. I can't believe he did that to his wife. We tell you how to refrain that, and you're going to listen to some horrible things, and we don't want you taking that back home with you. You're going to be trained. You're going to be exposed to this over and over again, and hopefully, as a professional, you'll know how to handle it. But as a professional, if it does affect you, we want you to understand that there's outlets to go to. You could come to us. If you come in and go, I got post-traumatic stress syndrome, I can't take this, I saw this horrible thing. Well, we're going to work with you. You're an asset for us. We want to make sure we take care of our people. So it's very important to know your limitations.
Lester, could you stay closer to the
Sure.
microphone?
Okay.
Save you some time.
Criminal and civil law teach you the difference between that. You have to understand. But the medical is the one that keeps a lot of people busy. We teach you enough so you could go out there and do his assignment, both for legal and medical, physio, anatomy, common diseases, mental health, and you do some role playing. But what's really amazing is if you really see that you like legal, or if you really like medical, there are courses you could take to advance yourself throughout your career where you could really get yourself embedded in that industry, just working with doctors, working with nurses, working with rehab, mental hospitals. It's fascinating, and that's where you start to flourish. You build your business, and you could probably command more per hour because that's how we pay, and you can negotiate because remember, you're your own business out there. You're out there to make money, and you're also out there to sell yourself and promote yourself. And last but not least, as I mentioned, accreditation is important. If you want all the doors to open, please go out and do CILSAT and ILSAT, especially when you finish this course because it's fresh. You're all ready to go. And you have to prove that you fully understand Albanian. I need proof. I want to see that. Show me that on a certificate before you work in my hospital. Evaluation of language skills. That's what it's all about. We just want to see how good you are. What's your career path? So you start off with us. What I recommend, if none of you have gone to the beautiful website that I redesigned with my team 3 years ago under our training, you can see we have something called Interpreter 101. It's a short course. It's an hour and a half. It gives you an idea of what an interpreter does. If you like it and go, hey man, I could do this. This is great. That's where you end up being here today, which most of you probably went through the 101 and said, I like it. I think I could enjoy it. I think I could enjoy making a difference and getting paid for that. So this is where we are. We offer general training, and it could be in a class, it could be online, it could be for interpretation, or it could be for translation, which is the written. So once you complete that, what we want to do is, at the end of the course, we teach you, this is a business, you're business people. Sell yourselves. Go out there. Talk to all the service providers like ourselves. MCIS, service provider across Canada. We'd love to have you on board, especially if you have rare languages, but I want to keep you busy because times could be slow for us, could be seasonal. Go and sign up with everyone and let them call you when they need you. And keep yourself busy. Keep your calendar busy. And we show you how to manage your calendar, how technology is helping us be much more efficient. How all of us should have at least a smartphone if you're in this business so we could communicate. We could send an assignment. If there's a rush, hey, can you help me out? I need someone out here in an hour. And you have those tools and you're willing to do it. You're in a neighborhood. Fantastic. But the thing I love the most is after this course, there are other courses we offer, sort of like advanced court training, advanced medical. And then we have these small little courses which are continued competencies. For instance, we see a lot of people today are not used to working with the LGBT community. Maybe in the old country they weren't exposed to them, and you come across one of those patients, you get nervous, you don't know how to react. We have courses that teach you, like this is the way to react. Or if you come across in a hospital where there's a patient that's dying and you're supposed to interpret, how do you handle it? How do you work with the staff during this phase of the patient's life? We teach you and we show you, if you come across these issues, these feelings, and, we'll assist you. So these are important little things that we throw your way, and a lot of it we'll give you for free. We charge $99, but if I have a good interpreter, I'm going to say, hey, you're great. You can't afford it. You took our course. Here, take this course. I signed you in. Do it. It's going to last 2 hours. They're short courses. Really good. However, you're all in a hurry. You want to work today. That's why you're here. We'll get you out in a few weeks. But if you have time, I'll always recommend, if you're not under any financial constraints throughout life for anything you do, try to get into a college. Try to go to university. It's much more comprehensive, where you're going to really spend time in different areas. Some of these courses last 2 to 3 years there. And when you come out, you can continue with a master's degree. But this is the good news here. If you start with us, you do these courses, and you go to Humber, or you go for York University where you want a master's degree, they have an arrangement with us where they recognize this course. So you may have to only do 2 additional courses to get a degree there, or they may give you a credit so you don't have to go through the entire 2 years. You could go for a year and a half type of scenario. Depends on the school, who you're negotiating with. But throughout life, like I said, education is very important, especially because of technology. So this is an industry that's growing, because globally we're growing. You have great opportunities. So now, I talked about interpretation. How many of you guys are interested in translation here? Look at that. We've got one person. Hopefully there's a lot more online. So what does it take to become a translator? First of all, same as interpretation. You've got to be good at one language as well as English. You have to have great writing skills in both languages. You need to know the computer, no surprise, but you have to have a laptop. In this laptop, you must have MS Word. We use Microsoft Word as well as Adobe Acrobat Reader. We work with a lot of PDF files, and you have to bring this to a classroom, because a lot of this typing, word translation is happening live when you're in the classroom. Online, you need it as well, but it's extremely important in the classroom, where you're going to miss out on a lot while everyone's typing away. Cultural competence. So here, there's a little more flexibility, where we want you to understand the culture. There may be some nuances when it comes to translation, because the customers want to relay a message in a specific way for a specific region, and you may have to understand there's some localization happening there. It's not straight word for word. So that, where interpretation, word for word, is very important, especially if you're a doctor, you want to give exactly what the symptoms are. If you're a lawyer, you want to tell exactly what the facts are, or they're going to throw them out of court. They could say the interpreter wasn't interpreting correctly, and they go, mistrial. So, but here, there's not as much flexibility. And you have to be a little more educated in terms of specialization. Like, I find translators, if somebody focused on literature, fantastic. If somebody focused in the sciences, like biology, physics, they know the terms inside out. They do a great job. And that's why we're asking for a post-secondary degree, diploma, or certificate from a university or college normally to take the translation course. The cool thing is, our in-classroom, we have 25 people, first come, first serve. They pack quickly, so if you're interested in that, I'd look into it, because things are speeding up. We have a class starting next month. And before we allow you to join our very special team, our special group, we have to assess how well you can write, how well you can translate, how well you speak both languages, just to make sure that you belong in the right place. Don't want to waste your time, take your money. If you're not going to be successful, we want you to know, hey, work another 6 months or a year on your writing skills. So what do you expect? There's 27 modules in a classroom, 3 hours each, 7 to 8 weeks as well. But online, it's a lot more intense. And this is my little secret to you guys. We just updated the classroom one to make it more user-friendly, more easier, because people are complaining that it used to be really hard, because in class we did the 40 modules as well. Online, you still have the 40 modules. We haven't changed it yet. We're going to change it in 6 months. But we'll give you the ability at a lower cost to do this. So that's my little secret. If I was signing up, I would do the online because I get a lot more. And time restriction is 3 months again, but if you need additional time, we will throw that in. No worries. But the 40 modules, we're talking about 15 to 20 hours per week you should be studying. And it actually takes 4.5 months, I should say now. Where a regular course, when we bring it down to 27 modules, is going to be 3 months. Format, as you know, one's in class, one's online. Interaction, in class, of course, you've got the facilitator, while online, you've got your cohorts, being the people you post with online, people you could talk to, but you do have 2 webinars where you're going to call in live, and there's going to be people doing classes with you. That's the difference from the interpretation. And the other thing is you have technical support. My computer's not working, what's going on? We will have somebody walk you through it to figure out what the issue is so you could benefit from the course. In class is right here in this room right now, and the charges are identical to our interpretation. We're doing it because we could afford. We're using the same facilities. We're using the same facilitators in many cases. These guys are educated, and we don't want to take you for a ride again. We want to meet our costs. That's why we're pretty competitive, and we're the only ones in Canada that's non-college or university offering this type of course for translation. And it's really created for languages of lesser diffusion because there is a shortage of translators out there. So we need to get some translators out there into the market quickly. So we worked with the government to put this program together. They gave us a grant saying, hey, let's help resolve this issue. Let's see what we could do to get more translators. We did it. We tested it out last year, and I'm sorry, we gave out 500 spots for free. You guys missed it. But we looked at what worked, what didn't, and now we came up with these classes. But it's worth the investment if you're really interested in that field.
Lester, could you verify the price for?
So the price for in-class is going to be $9.90 because we have a facilitator. Online is $8.50, and they all have taxes on top of
Is
that.
it $8.50?
$8.50. Right now for online, we're keeping it the same. Or did I lie?
I think it's $9.90.
No, $9.90 in a classroom, $8.50 online.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Groovy. So what do you expect in class? We have the exact same happening in both scenarios. 5 quizzes, 6 assignments, and glossary to be completed. So this is going to be done in both online and classrooms. Everyone's going to have a final individual project to do. Woo! And there's post-training assessment, so we test you out. That's worth 50%. So that's heavily weighted. So everything you paid very close attention to will be tested at the end to make sure when we let you out there working on those medical manuals that you know exactly what you're doing. And attendance, once again, if you're in a classroom, I need 90%. If you're online, go to sleep, wake up, do it the night before. Congratulations, you've graduated. Okay, so what's the curriculum we follow in both scenarios? Once again, there's the fundamentals. We need to teach you the basics, the skills, the competency, code of ethics again. If you're doing some information, you've got to be private about it. You can't go telling people, hey, I worked on this nuclear project, and no, you can't do that. The translation process and key concept, we show you how it works from start to finish, how the client gives us the job or request, how we revise it to offering the finished product, how we deliver it, do we do it manually, hard copy, do we do emails? Translation competency is the next area we look at where, we teach you how to source, analyze document, and if you don't understand a word, where to find it, how to find a correct version of that. We also focus on research and documentation. If you don't know a specific area in physics, you might have graduated 20 years ago and you want to fresh up your skills on that, we'll show you where to go and find those resources. As a business, you have to know you have these resources and where to find them. We'll show you how to do that. Technical competencies, very important. Quality and translation, if you're wrong, the customers will be the first to let you know. That's why we're going to also teach revision, someone to look at your work to make sure everything that goes out. And foreign language into English is the choice you could select, or English into a foreign language. Normally people specialize going one way or specialize going the other way. It's rare you find people going English, French, French, English. Don't know why. I'm not a translator, but that's how it is. I guess that's how the mind is trained. But when you are trained in that area, you really become proficient and you're experts in that field. There's also community translation, which is the basic translations. If you're working with the government, they need some documents, forms, insurance. But the legal and medical are the harder ones. And we cover, like we did in interpretation, those areas as well, enough to get you up and running and to understand what's going to be required of you. But then there's the specialized translation, which I like. Being a marketing guy, you get to do advertising materials. And once again, localization may come to play where you have to specifically make some changes for a region. Business settings, audiovisual, translation, transcription, localization, all these different components we're going to go through and show you what there is on top of your regular translation. You may want to specialize in something like, audiovisual, where this is cool, this is what I really enjoyed. There's one customer in the US that have marketing research groups that they have in a room, and they ask them about a product. Tell us what you think about this new product we're releasing. They all record it, and then we need somebody to translate what was recorded in Japanese into English so the head office in New Hampshire could understand what the customers think. People specialize in that. They enjoy it, and they do really well. But once again, the final part of this will be running your own business, because you are in charge of your business. You are the one who makes sure you're successful. And by doing that, you have to have the quality. You have to go out there, network, and get to know the customers. Please sign up with us too, and sign up with my competitors again, because I want you to stay in this industry if you really like what you do. So, what can you do as a translator? You could start off taking this course, becoming a community translator. Just do local translation at settlement agencies, little offices, doctors, clinics. With the work experience, hopefully you become certified and you will specialize in the field, be it in the sciences, be it in the arts, be it in legal. That is what's open to you. So sky's the limit. You're never too old to learn, especially in this industry. Now, you get to see my ugly face leave, and we get our human resources people who are going to talk about, I believe this is your slide, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because you look like you. We're going to talk about, take the training. What happens after that? You're an asset to us, and as I always bring up, to our competitors. I want you to know you have this. You have to go sell yourself and make sure people know who you are. And Katie's going to help relay that to you and convey how important it is. Katie?
So as mentioned, very comprehensively by Lester, obviously, we want you to work with us after you complete the training with us. But we also don't want you guys to limit yourselves and limit your opportunities, because as a freelance contractor, you are your own business, so you always want to maximize your streams of income. So after completion of either our OLET, OSLET, OTTP, or OSTTP programs, and once you complete the testing requirements, so for example, for the interpreter, you obviously need the language skills assessment, which is the CILSAT or the ILSAT. Once you submit all the documents to us, a profile may be created on our roster, and then you can get started. So obviously, if you guys do, and when you guys do enroll and complete the programs, we will obviously give you a list of documents that need to be submitted so that we can verify all your information. So your resume, your academic credentials, and that's really important because we always want to know where your foundation of knowledge is. So for example, if you are a translator and you have a BA in civil engineering, we may want to give you translation projects in that particular field, as opposed to, for example, a highly medical text or a manual for you to translate. So we always want to take into consideration your academic background as well. And once you are on the system as an interpreter, we have recently launched our new interpreter management system, which is called Interpreter Intelligence. It's a really interactive system where you log in, you put in your availability that you are willing or you are available to work with us. So if you know that you
don't want to work Mondays or Fridays. You want an extra long weekend every single weekend. So you have the choice to put in that you're only available from Tuesdays to Thursdays, and we will only contact you with interpretation jobs falling under your desired range of time. And you also can close jobs, accept or decline job offers. So every single time we have an interpretation assignment, we obviously give you all the details so you can make an informed decision. So the date, time, location, special instructions, what type of interpretation it is. So is it going to be a face-to-face where you will have to travel, or is it going to be over the phone? So with that information, you can either accept or decline that offer. And then after the assignment, you obviously close the job with your phone, which is really easy. And granted that you guys all have smartphones, it's a less than 5-minute process. And obviously, working with us, you will receive benefits. So as I think mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, we are a nonprofit social enterprise. We're well reputed in the industry, and we obviously encourage that you work with our competitors as well. There's timely payments through direct deposit. So for example, if you close the job within the 48-hour window, then the process of payment, English. We process the payment in about 2 weeks' time. So there's a structure to all the direct deposit schedule. We also, again, offer options for further education and training. So say, for example, you go on interpretation assignments, and you've gone to a medical, legal, and a social service sector assignment, and you really find an interest in pursuing more medical-related assignments, and you enjoy that. You enjoy seeing patients, you enjoy the terminology used. You can, like Lester mentioned, pursue one of our of our courses or webinars, so AMIT, the Advanced Medical Interpreter Training Programs, or ACIT, which is the court, which is the legal. So we try to monitor external trends. So as you know, previously mental health was not really talked about. It wasn't as big of an issue. So people may not know how to navigate those waters when they are in interpretation assignments. So we actually developed a webinar, a training program that allows you to understand the sector a little better, the information, the terminology used, and how to really interpret in those settings and be comfortable with not only the patient but also the doctor. MCIS is covered by errors and omissions insurance. However, if you are going to pursue this as a career, then we do advise that you do pursue your own or attain an additional errors and omissions insurance. And with MCIS, I think we are a little different because we have the different multiple avenues of interpretation. So you're not just limited to, for example, immediate phone interpretation or just phone interpretation. There are different modes, so the face-to-face, the phone, and the video interpretation. So sometimes if I know that I'm a horrible driver and I really can't stand the stress of driving on a Monday, but I'm only available for phone interpretation assignments on Mondays, then I have that luxury to do that. Yeah.
To that, we also provide, we also offer critical illness insurance for interpreters who might use this.
Okay.
At your own cost, but we were able to negotiate a discounted group rate for so I'm just letting you know.
Thank you. So with the branding and the marketing, as mentioned, you are your own business, you are your own entrepreneur. So part of being an entrepreneur requires branding yourself. So you definitely want to invest in your human capital, either through courses with us or courses with other organizations as well, but also in how you present yourself to the client. So for example, if I'm always late to my interpretation jobs, people are going to notice. I'm probably going to get a lot of complaints, and MCIS will probably let me know. And that may affect my receipt of jobs. It may affect how people see me as a professional working in the field. So you always want to strive to be professional because you're always presenting yourself. And you know how first impressions are really important every single time. So every single time you go for an assignment, that probably is your first impression, because every single interpretation assignment is different. Every client is different. And you always want to follow the interpreter's code of ethics. So maintaining your role boundaries. There obviously are going to be situations where the limited English speaking person is like, oh, you speak my language. What country are you from? When did you come to Canada? And we can't really engage in that. I'm sure you guys are all very nice people, but at some point you really do have to understand that the role of an interpreter is just to interpret from the source language to the target and vice versa. So always providing high quality, reliable service, upgrading yourselves, ensuring that you equip yourself with the right terminology. So even if you are unfamiliar with an assignment, what I usually do is I ask all the details related to the assignment and try to see or research keywords. So if I know that I'm going for an ophthalmology interpretation assignment, I will research words like ptosis repair, blepharoplasty, so I have a better understanding. So it's part of your, I guess, own professional development and brushing up on your vocabulary, which never really hurts. They always say knowledge is power. And again, and I know we've repeated this multiple times, but seek opportunities out there. No one can take away your language abilities from you. So you always want to maximize your streams of income by applying to not only us, but other agencies as well. And we have recently, well, not very recently, a year and a half ago, I guess, established our vendor management department, which supports our language professionals, so both interpreters and translators. So we would support you guys through updating your profiles, adding new credentials. If you got, a PhD in psychology, we definitely want to capture that. And also performance management. So for example, if you go on an assignment and we receive certain feedback, we want to let you know so that you can improve. Or if you've received positive feedback, we definitely want to recognize that and acknowledge that. So our vendor management team is always there to support our language professionals. And this goes to Lester.
I can take it back.
Okay.
Here we go, guys. If you're interested in this presentation, what we had to deliver to you today, and you think that, hey, I am compatible with this profession, with this industry, I'd like to take the next step. Well, what we ask you to do is you can apply online. We do have our website here, or just go to MCIS, Google that. It'll take you directly to our website, and it's called out really easily at the top, training. And it's just plastered with the application. But we will share a copy of this with you. Everyone who's attended today will make sure you get one. You want to become a professional interpreter with MCIS. Hang on. Apply for work. Okay. Apply to work as a freelance interpreter. You go through our website. And if you want to take training, you could also go to our website. Everything you need is one-stopping. So everything is on our website. I really recommend you visit it to communicate with us and learn about all our offerings. Everything I talked about in terms of advanced training is there as well. And if there's questions, Gregory is the sales representative for our training. He actually reports to me. And we sit down and we go through the applications, we assess people, and we look at the languages and we go, yes, we need this, thank God. Like you noticed when you guys came in, I asked, what language and where are you from? What region? GTA, we're happy when we hear that. There's so much work in the Toronto area. We're the busiest part of the nation, and we do cover coast to coast. We're from the Pacific all the way to the Atlantic, where we do the majority of our face-to-face, but also we do a lot of work in the US, Europe, for translation if you're interested. That business is booming. When it comes to technology, a computer could take you anywhere globally. And please visit our website, www.mcislanguages.com, and it's a wealth of information. My name's Lester, Lester B. Pearson, if you want to remember the airport here. My parents named me after him. Here's the story. Happy immigrants. Refugees came to Canada. He was the prime minister, so they named me Lester. But this is the crazy part. They lived in we moved to Montreal. I was born in Montreal, in the most francophone French area you can imagine. And they gave me the most English name you can imagine. And yeah, it was fun growing up. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Thank you. And now what I'm going to do is leave the floor to anyone who has a question that needs clarification. And also for those of you at home, if you have any questions, please let us know. I'd be more than glad to answer them right now. Or if you need time to think it over, just give us a call, send us an email. We'd be more than glad to assist you. So right here with our immediate people, a second question from the same person. Yes.
If somebody interested in interpreter classes, of course, and then after that we want to upgrade to translator course. So what the charges?
Translator, you really want, I want you to go out and practice first as an interpreter. I need you, because you're going to be busy as hell. You know, what language do you cover?
Arabic.
I'll be honest, we do have a lot of Arabic interpreters, if anything.
You said that on the phone too.
Yeah. But, and I'm being honest, we do have, so this is where you have to be good at what you do. So people ask for you. I want her. She's amazing when she's working with my medical staff. But if you want to do translation and you spent money already, we will give you a sweet deal. Like, we'll give you something crazy. If you're going to do both, I want you to work so I could even use you in translation. Just call me directly. We'll score something. And the other thing is, I know you guys came here and you talk to other people, you have friends. The last group, because, and I'm talking to you at home as well, traffic was bad here. Some people showed up an hour and a half late from Mississauga. We felt bad. We gave them a discount. We told them, okay, we'll give everybody who attended the session, who wrote in, a 20% discount on what we're saying. So all of you, if you want to take it, please feel free. I'll give you a 20% discount. And same for you people at home, because I know you had to rush here to hit the traffic. We still meet our margins. And what I mean by margins is our costs, because we have people that teach, facilitators, renting the classroom. My goal as a nonprofit is always hit, just break even. We're not here to be rich. And we want you to be rich if you're good. But yes, I would help you with translation. I'm talking like an old lady, very long and winded, but absolutely would love to help you out. Any other questions, concerns, or clarification you people need? I remember one gentleman said translations, the Polish gentleman.
Yes.
That's great. You know what? One thing we've noticed and I've seen, especially from the Polish, is a lot of university documentation asking to be updated. We get walk-ins here, but I'm sure other service providers get the same. So that's a good stream of revenue, something quick, easy to do. That's one of the things you may want to look into. But if you specialize or you were educated in the field, if you don't mind me asking, what is your background in education?
I studied radio broadcasting.
Communications, yeah, that somewhere in that field. Actually, oh, too bad you don't speak French. We have one with the Ontario government right now for tourism, sports, and communication. English to French. Sorry.
Yes, not for me.
Great.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, and that's what we do. If we get a business we're going after, we look at resources, who we could partner with. We would call you. Let's say if you were French and English, I'm going to say, I've got this one with the government. They plan on giving us 500,000 words per year. Would you be the primary on that? Would you work with me? Can you be my go-to person? Like, please don't forget me. If I come to you, use me first. And versus my competitor? We do a lot of begging and pleading. That's what our vendor management team does. Any other questions? So we look out for quality. We want to make sure we have the best people out there. That's why a year ago we came up with the vendor manager team, where we found there was a break between us and you guys in the field. After a few years, you may forget me, but if you want to complain and say something you really dislike, you'd have to call me and I say, I'll get back to you. But now we have someone waiting at the phones, a team, a department to help you out. If there's training you need, assistance, if you came across something crazy, or if you pissed off one of our customers, we will talk to you and we'll say, hey, they're having issues. Let's work on this. Or we could even recommend some free training on changing some of the challenges we have. We work as a team. You're an extension of us. You remember we talked about our vision? We want you to preach that vision, to bring the value of what we're trying to convey to our customers, to bring it to these customers, because you're talking to them every day. You're the forefront. So you're important. We got to invest in you. And we need to have that open communication. So that's what the vendor management team did. We have an open door all the time for you guys. Anybody else? Questions, concerns? Well, once again, I'd like to thank you for taking your time to come down. I know it's a challenge getting here. We appreciate it. If you feel this is the right fit for you, please explore it. Please sign up. I will give you the 20% discount. If you have challenges and you can't pay it, talk to us. We'll figure out some installment plans. But I want you to be serious. I want you to be business people where you can sell yourself and we could work together. We do get people trying and they go 6 months later, nah, that's not what I wanted. I want to be a rock star. Okay, wasted our time. But if you want to work and get better, we want to work with you. We want you to be a part of our company, an extension of us. Thank you for your time. Have a great evening. Drive home safely. And we look forward to hopefully working with a few of you. Great. Well, thank you, guys. And thank you all at home. I know that's difficult following. I know I'm running around this room. But once again, everything I've talked about today, the offers we're extending to you as well. And thank you. Have a good night, everyone.